Yo, what is up everyone? Today we are doing part 4 for What If Naruto Was Grimmjow's reincarnation. Now, right now I am on a roll. Today's the fourth day. I am doing daily uploading and it's going pretty well so far. And yeah, last time we had left off right as the Forest of Death had started, and Team 7 are pretty much riding on Bawa throughout the forest, looking for people to fight and just trying to get to the middle, or at least look for scrolls while doing so, because they want to catch other people off while they're looking for them. And yeah, without further ado, guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Bring that heat, boy.
So we resume this what if as Team 7 is riding on Bawa throughout the forest, and for a decent maybe 10 minutes they're just going through this forest and looking for people to fight, when they come upon a certain group, 2 teams. Now these are the 2 teams Naruto really wanted to fight, right? Because 1, they are really strong, and 2, they are really strong. So yeah, so these 2 teams is Team Guy and Team Gaara, and that's kind of unexpected because I never actually did this in the what if, but I wanted to try it out. So basically Lee's there, and Lee, Neji, and Tenten, while Gaara, Tamari, and Kankura are there, while Team 7's fighting, right? Are getting ready to fight both of them. So Naruto tells Sasuke to handle Tamari and Kankura, while Naruto tells Naruto to handle Neji and Tenten. So while Naruto fought against Lee and Gaara, sort of in a 3-way match, right? And what would be happening is, like, Gaara would kind of be really like blood lusted, and Lee would just talk about, I don't know, power youth. So just like before the fight, like, he was given permission by Guy, so like, since this was the Forest of Death and you can literally die in this, and like that would not be against the rules, he was given permission to take off his weights, because there's like a life or death situation here. And he would take off his weights, and he would start to like get a feel for Naruto's strength, like gauge him, see if he's like, if he should go into the 5th, like the 5 throughout the 5 gates he knows. While Gaara starts small using his sand. So they're pretty much, you can even say they're double teaming Naruto, and I mean, that's fine. I mean, Naruto loves fighting, so I mean, it's not like that's much of a problem. He has no problem fighting 2 people at once. So Gaara would send his sand towards Naruto, while Naruto would start to see his like the time between each attack, right? Using his Sunito to dodge each attack to analyze Gaara. So basically, once Naruto had realized his the time sequences between each attack, he would go on to fight Lee, right? As he's the one he's mainly interested in, right? He sees the most potential at this point, right? Gaara can be strong with his Grand Mausoleum seal, but he's not at that point yet. So he's fighting Lee hand to hand, and Lee is actually like using some nice techniques on him, using the like wrapping up in bandages and just like sending him plummeting to the ground. Obviously, I didn't say the technique name because 1, I probably don't remember it, and 2, Naruto just doesn't know the name. He doesn't know jack shit about the 8 gates. And yeah, no, I think it was called the Hidden Lotus. So pretty much Lee would start to like use the base techniques of the 8 gates before he would see Naruto just like kind of just having fun playing with him pretty much at that point. before he would go into the first and second gates, right? As he would, like, Naruto would see an aura just kind of surround Lee, and it would sort of change colors as he's like, he's kind of interested in this power, and he's curious, like, what will it do? So pretty much what would happen from there is Naruto would open his hand, like the palm, like just open up his hand, and he would start charging up a Sero. And once he shoots the Sero, Lee would blatantly blitz him before then appearing right behind him and kicking him up in the air, before then appearing right where he was, and then spin kicking him right back to the ground. Naruto would then catch himself before he hit the ground, and he realized, like, he needs to start to stop holding back, like little bit, bits by bits, pretty much. So he would start lowering his releasing more of his power, and he would start fighting, right? Really fighting. And Gaara and Lee can see this, so Lee would start opening more of his gates. And Gaara, if you're wondering what he's gonna introduce into this fight, is he would pretty much talk to Shikaku, telling him, like, when it comes to the invasion, you can have full control, like, from the get-go. I just need you to lend me your ability so I can basically kill this guy, right? I mean, you can kill here, and he wants to kill Naruto. I mean, it's kind of a thing, but yeah. So Shikaku would kind of agree, because, like, he just, like, wants to end Naruto too. He's just annoying, so he would pretty much lend Gaara as much sand as he needs, like as much sand, and he'd be able to even access the tailed beast bomb. Obviously it'd be like a one-time thing or a two-time thing, like he's not going to use it too many times. Maybe when he's an adult or a teenager, like the 4th grade ninja war, like around that time, he may be like able to use like 3 or 4 once he befriends Shikaku, but not at this point. So right from this point, sand would start seeping out, like just manifesting from the air itself. Some of the properties are in the atmosphere, let's just say that. I don't actually know the properties of sand, but hey, hopefully it's not too much to say. I mean, he has magnetic release, so it's not too much to say, and he has a tail beast inside him who is made of sand, so I mean, hopefully that's fine with you. But he would start like manifesting as much sand as possible, as Lee can see this, as he starts to back up, worrying about the output of its technique, while Naruto, you would just straight up tank it. Like, obviously he's tanking the sand that's being sent at him, but it would start to form in this huge pyramid. Obviously it's the imperfect version of the mausoleum seal, but it still works. So a bunch of seals would start to form on the triangle before he would try to like slam it and pretty much suffocate Naruto and mutilate, whatever blatant terms you want to use for killing someone. And Naruto would go into his resurrection grind, Panthera, as once he would pretty much unhook his blade and like sort of unsheath his blade and then run his hand through it, and as he would go into his resurrection form. So once he would do that, he would sort of release, kind of breaking the technique. And once that would happen, obviously the technique would easily like just sort of atomize, like just turn back into tiny pieces of sand, as Naruto would be sitting there, no soul, just sort of kind of fuse with him. I think that kind of thing happens with Resurrection. And pretty much what would happen from there is he would use his Sonido, which is enhanced by 5 times, and he would Sonido in front of Gaara before just throwing hands, like punching him in the gut, punching him in the chin, other things like that. And Gaara would just be getting the hands, as Gaara is sort of a last-ditch effort, as sort of Shikaku shielding him with his sand. obviously, as we know, has armor sand. He would charge up his tailed beast bomb. So once this would happen, he's charging up his tailed beast charging up his tailed beast bomb, and pretty much covering it in sand. He would then shoot it at Naruto, right? And Lee saying this for a moment, he goes into the fort gates because he doesn't want Naruto to die. He's a strong fighter. He just instinctively he wants to help Naruto. Not that because he likes Naruto, he just likes fighting with him, right? He's sort of attracting that feeling of liking fighting, kind of how Sasuke and Naruto originally did in the first part of the series. So once that would happen, he would come in between as Naruto's charging up Sero, and he would kick down, right? Kind of creating an energy blast per se. As once this would happen, Naruto would then shoot his Sero, and it would just kind of combine, kind of turning from like Gaara's, I think fourth grade is like green, as Naruto's Zero is like red, so green and red. I don't know what color that makes. If anyone can tell me in the comments what color that makes, that'd be appreciated. But if you actually do say like what color it makes, I'll pin your comment, like I promise, okay? But it would kind of combine as it would destroy the Zero, right? And as Gaara's on the ground, Naruto would then switch back into the base form as he'd walk over to Gaara as he has his katana in hand, and Gaara just assumes Naruto's gonna kill him because it'd be the rational thing. But Naruto would drop his blade, right? As he kind of falls over and is just laying there like looking in the sky, right? Not that he's gonna die, he's just a bit tired and he's just kind of feeling the after effects of being in a fight and all, and he's sort of like feeling the wave of like sort of shivers, not shivers like from scaredy, but like it's sort of like, I don't know if you know, but like whenever you get into a fight you get that sort of cold feeling, not cold feeling, but sort of like sort of hard to explain, but you get that sort of releasing feeling. It's kind of hard to explain. It's you would only know if you experienced it, pretty much. So what would happen is from here they would kind of like Lee would go back into his base form, and Naruto just doesn't want to kill Gaara because he sees him as pretty strong, and Gaara does the same. And for once, this kind of has Gaara thinking like why he didn't kill Naruto, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, it sort of makes sense, but or at least it's sort of like having its humanization. Right? He's kind of becoming a little more human, and Naruto's becoming more himself, like Grimmjow in a sense. And it's kind of like that same dynamic between Ichigo and Gaara. I mean, Ichigo and Ukiura, my bad. Like, Ukiura became more human, like, as he was dying, he's like, thank you, Orihime, like, you gave me a heart. Like, not that way, don't take that out of context. But then Ichigo was becoming more hollow-like with Zangetsu, like white Zangetsu. Think of it like that, right? So after this whole fight thing, like, Nelio would heal him. She kind of has some minor healing. I believe she did that to Urahara after the fight with Asnodad, or else Urahara would have just had another Rancor be at the scene, right? But he chose Harry Bell to do that. So after this, they would get on Bawa Bawa, and they would be on their way, in which Orochimaru would be watching from afar. This time he chose not to interfere because he wanted to study Naruto, like watch him from afar, and so this would kind of create that sort of antagonistic, like how Aizen was watching Byakuya fight Ichigo, and it was sort of creating that type of feeling. And honestly, that sort of makes Orochimaru a better antagonist, right? He doesn't need to come out of nowhere and start killing it on them. He's watching from afar and passively showing he's above, right? It's sort of like, that's something I'd like to see from him. Like, that's something I like to see Orochimaru do. So after Naruto and Team 7 make it to the tower, getting the scrolls by fighting some fodder team, I mean, or they were just simply fighting teams before they fought Lee and Gaara. I guess the whole scroll system means very little to them. It's the whole reason the Chunin exams is kind of important in some motives is because they want to either create a setback for the MC by introducing Orochimaru or Gaara or Lee, or show Naruto's strength by having Naruto do better than he did in canon, or just creating more bonds between Naruto and Sasuke. Those are 3 ways I could see it. There are some other ways, but those are the ones I know of so far. So after they make it to the tower, we will now go over the preliminaries. And pretty much what would happen with that is pretty much the team ups would be relatively the same. It'd be Naruto versus Kiba, Sasuke versus Yoroi, and Neliel versus Ino. Now, when it came to Naruto versus Kiba, they both kind of have a similar personality. I mean, I don't know about similar. It's relative. Like, it's like maybe they're similar in some aspects, but not particularly, right? And literally, when Naruto's looking at Kiba, he just sees like a more disappointed version of himself, because like, I'm gonna be honest, Kiba's kind of weak, and it's kind of disappointing to say the least. But yeah, so let's just say Naruto doesn't even have to use a Sarah. I mean, I just honestly, Naruto's pretty advanced when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. Or whenever Kiba would use his Fang over Fang, Naruto would use Xehther. He wouldn't even be able to bypass Xehther. So it's just a losing battle for Kiba. And when it comes for Yoroi didn't really master his technique to absorb chakra. Like, it has a lot of potential, but not in the hands of him. So Sasuke would use the Lion's Barrage on him. And when it came to Neliel versus Ino, honestly, this is just overkill, man. Have Piche go on him, it's easy claps. It's not even that hard. So now we go over the 1 month time skip. So during this whole 1 month time skip, Naruto, Sasuke, and Neliel, those are mainly the people that would be training. Or, I mean, it's sort of kind of split. Like, the first 2 weeks, Sasuke would be learning the Chidori, and once he would get it down, as he had spent the previous week in the Land of the Waves training for that, right? And now he has the 3 Tamori, so it would be much easier, meaning he can use more, like, instead of like 2 a day, it's like 4, 5 at the most a day, and that's honestly pretty good. It's good development. And for Naruto, he would learn how to use the not use the Granola Zero, but sort of, how do I say, get the most out of it, right? And also he would learn how to make portals and sort of, in a sense, grasp more of his memories and understand like why he's there in that world in the first place, right? You sort of understand that. So after this, Team 7 would be in the middle of the field with the other contestants, as these matchups would be Naruto versus Gaara, Sasuke versus Gaara. slow down. Sorry, my brain. Naruto versus Neji, Sasuke versus Gaara, Neliel versus Kankuro, and Shino versus Dosu. So what would happen was Dosu was killed, so he never really shows up, and Kankuro would forfeit, so Neliel would naturally win. So when it comes to Shikamaru versus Tamari, yeah, that goes relatively the same. But when it comes to Naruto versus Neji, Sasuke versus Gaara, honestly, we're not gonna know what happens until the next part. And you're thinking, what do you mean the next part? Isn't Unbound gonna go over this? I'm sorry, but I'm not. Okay, because I kind of want to extend this series, maybe 7-8 parts, and also I would like to see what I can do with this series. I mean, if you want to comment down below or join my Discord, link in the description. I mean, join it. I mean, why not? I mean, you get to flex to your friends that you joined Unbound server. All right, I mean that's a huge flex, bro. You join Rogue server 2 and Mysta server. You tell them that Unbound told you to join, all right? And I don't know, maybe they'll thank you. I actually don't know what you'll get. But yeah, without further ado, guys, peace out.